My teenage daughter showed me her phone and said, "Dad, why is Grandpa offering me money to spend weekends at his house alone? What kind of money?" I stared at Emma's phone screen, reading the text messages from my father-in-law that made my stomach drop. She was sitting on our couch doing homework when she casually showed me the conversation, completely unaware of how disturbing his messages sounded. The latest text read, "Emma, sweetheart, I'll give you $200 for each weekend you stay over. Just you and Grandpa having special time together. Don't mention this to your parents. They wouldn't understand how much I miss spending quality time with my favorite granddaughter." I felt my blood pressure spike as I scrolled through weeks of increasingly strange messages that Emma had apparently been receiving from her grandfather. Emma looked confused by my reaction as she explained that Grandpa Harold had been texting her these offers for almost a month. "He keeps saying he's lonely since Grandma died and wants me to keep him company," she said innocently, not understanding why I looked so concerned. "He promised to teach me art and said we could work on projects together in his basement studio. Last week he asked me to bring some of my white summer dresses because he wants me to model for his paintings when it rains. He says white fabric looks more artistic in dim lighting." Emma's casual description of these requests sent chills down my spine. I kept reading through Harold's messages while trying to maintain a calm exterior. The texts included detailed descriptions of activities he wanted to do with her alone, art sessions in his basement, modeling for paintings, and something about teaching her to pose naturally for what he called artistic expression. One message mentioned how she was becoming such a beautiful young woman and how he wanted to capture her innocence on canvas. Another text asked if she'd be comfortable with art exercises that involved trust and following his specific instructions about positioning and movement. Emma seemed genuinely puzzled by my questions about her grandfather's behavior, describing how he'd always been interested in art and had paintings throughout his house. But as I thought more about Harold's recent behavior, red flags appeared everywhere. Emma mentioned that he'd been asking detailed questions about her school schedule and specifically when her mother and I wouldn't be home. He'd also been unusually interested in her development, making comments about how she was blossoming and needed special guidance during this important time in her life. The most disturbing part was Harold's insistence on secrecy and his specific requests. He told Emma that their art sessions needed to be private because real artistic expression requires complete trust and no interruptions. He'd mentioned needing her to bring specific white clothing and had described exercises that involved learning to be comfortable with vulnerability and trusting Grandpa's artistic vision completely. The combination of money offers, secrecy requests, basement sessions, and clothing specifications created a pattern that made my parental instincts scream danger. When I confronted my wife about her father's messages, she initially defended him as just being a lonely widower who missed having family around. But as she read through the texts herself, her expression changed from dismissive to horrified. The combination of secrecy, money offers, isolation requests, and trust exercises created a pattern we couldn't ignore. My wife immediately called her father to confront him, but he became defensive and angry, claiming we were misinterpreting his innocent attempts to bond with Emma through art. The situation escalated when Harold showed up at our house unannounced the next day, demanding to see Emma and insisting that we were poisoning her against him. His reaction to being questioned about the messages was so aggressive that we immediately called the police to file a report. The investigation revealed that Harold had been using similar tactics with other young girls in the neighborhood, always involving art sessions, specific clothing requests, and offers of money. Emma never spent another moment alone with her grandfather, and the innocent art lessons he'd proposed were revealed to be something much more sinister that we'd been blind to for years.